flip around. Look at that, guys. Look at our awesome view down Bondi, in the Bondi Radio bucket list right now.
Still a beautiful day. I don't know about you, Liam, but I'm sweating bullets.
I'm actually
really
fine.
hot.
I'm cool. I'm cool as a cucumber right now. I just want to share with you guys, if you can hear our voices, what our actual view is while we're down here talking to you guys on this awesome radio show. So now we're back. We've got our next guest in, Connie Chapman.
Hello.
Local hero, local celebrity, Instagram celebrity, 13.2K followers.
Wow.
Talk about stalker. Stalker or research? Research.
I appreciate the research. You've got to be thorough.
Well, you research me. You stalk me. You just said that off camera. Then you just stalk me.
When someone messages you on Instagram and you don't know what you're getting into,
it could be
you
some
want to know who it is.
weirdo in the back shed doing something. You know.
I wanted to know what you were about. You know, what your message 100%. And your vibe was.
Our vibe is honest.
Honest and
You ready for our tagline?
Yeah.
Education and entertainment to help you build a more of a confident, fearless, inspired version of yourself.
I actually read that line in your email and I thought that's a great line. I didn't realize it was the tagline, but I really liked it.
That's our tagline. So we're going to go, the song's finishing in about a minute or so, guys. So you can watch us live on Facebook in the behind the scenes stuff, and you can listen to us on the Bondi Radio app. Are you ready to do this?
I'm so ready.
We're just going to wing it, as we said in the email.
Totally.
Let's just do
That's
it,
all
right?
I do. I wing my whole life. Seriously.
Yeah, let's do it, all right?
So you guys don't know each other? Oh my God, that's awesome. That's great.
Not from a bar of soap.
Not from a bar of soap.
Just some stalking and photos.
Exactly.
He picked you up online, pretty much.
Well, that's what I'm telling my girlfriend, man. She'll kill me.
Stalked that part. I was like, let's make sure this is a legitimate thing.
Oh, it's totally legitimate.
It's not a dating thing.
No.
Oh, yeah, it's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
All right, ready to go? Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live down on Bondi Radio on the Weekend Wellness Show in the beautiful bucket list, and we are also live on Facebook. This is Liam Zollo, your host, and with my awesome co-host Sheena Alexandra, and with our next guest. Do you want to intro her in then?
This is Connie Chapman!
Oh,
That was a great
That was
intro.
a good intro. We're getting good at this, Sheena.
I don't know what your title is, so do you have a title, or like what do you call yourself?
Oh, look, formally I'm a life coach. That's what I trained in. I have a podcast, so you can call me a podcast host. I write, so I guess I call myself a writer. You know, that's how I define who I am.
Oh, wow. So what type of things do you write then? You write books, or you write blogs, or...
Haven't written a book yet. I'm hoping to actually in 2018, but I've been blogging for the past 8 years.
Wow.
I started blogging to document my personal journey and what I was learning, and then I started to develop this amazing community of people who are reading my work. And then the blog became the foundation of my business that I run now. So a lot of my work is content, you know, sharing messages with people, either on the blog, on Instagram, to really help people.
So how did this journey start as a life coach? Was there a triggering point of you becoming a life coach? Was it like a circumstance that happened to you, so you're like, that's enough, I want to help people? Or is it just the natural, you just naturally gravitated into that industry?
It was several trigger points that kind of happened at different stages throughout my life. So it really began when I was about 19, which is like 15 years ago, so a long time ago. I've been doing this for a while, and it started with my personal journey of my mum taking me along to an introductory yoga program to just help me with some of the anxiety and the stuff that I was struggling with. And I found in yoga just this contentment, this calmness that I had never felt before, and I'm like, I really love this. I love this feeling. My mum was a bit of a hipster. She was all into the self-development world in the 90s.
Woohoo! We like Mum.
We like Mum.
She was awesome. Like, I learned how to do Reiki when I was 12 years old.
Wow, that's interesting.
I started seeing a Chinese doctor when I was 4. Like, it was a huge part of our life. So Mum had this giant bookcase of all the self-development gurus, you know, John DeMartini and Louise Hay and
awesome.
Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to learn more about what I'm discovering through yoga. So studied her bookcase, and then throughout my 20s it was this real journey that I was on just personally. I went to Tony Robbins' program.
Which one? Unleash the Power Within?
Yes.
Yeah, how good is that?
Walked on hot coals.
Yeah.
You did it?
Yeah, I've done that one. freaked
That
me
was
out.
game changing for me.
Yeah, 100%. You're walking on a hot cold and you should see how freaked out you get.
Like it's real cold.
It's real steaming, fiery, hot cold. You're like, oh my god, what is going on? But you just put yourself in the zone, don't you?
Yeah, well that's Tony's work, isn't it? He
Exactly
gets
right.
you in the zone. It's all about the mindset.
Yeah.
The mindset. I got into Buddhism. I got into a whole heap of other programs through my 20s, and then when I was 27, I was in a job and I was really unhappy there. And I actually hired a life coach to work with me and help support me uncover what I wanted to do with my life, what I was passionate about. And she helped me realize that I wanted to teach this work to other people because it had been so impactful for me. So I started the blog at that time when I was 27 and just began documenting and sharing what I was discovering, and literally got such amazing feedback from people following me that I think I started to believe in myself after that and be like, maybe I'm kind of good at this. Maybe there's something to this. When I was 29, I went and did my life coach training. I decided I was ready to make the transition, and then spent a year kind of juggling the training, building up the business, working in a full-time day job, and eventually then took the leap and just resigned, which was almost exactly 5 years
You just
ago.
gave me chills.
What was that
I was
job?
just like, I'm out of here.
What was that job?
My background is in special education.
Oh,
So I always wanted to teach. That was always a big part of who I was. But I worked with kids who had learning difficulties, and I worked in schools and in other organisations to support them through that. So it's sort of morphed into more so empowering people rather than caring for people. I think was the difference. Yeah.
And now you're a life coach. So
I am.
how do you study to be a life coach? What are the things? Is it NLP, hypnotherapy, those things, or is it more that of your experiences that make you to be a life coach?
Yeah, good question. I think it's both.
Is it?
I think the training is really valuable. It gave me a structure for when I worked with people. It gave me some strategies in a safe way to be able to guide people back through the past and do healing, which I think you need some training in that. You don't want to just throw people into something that you don't know how to hold them in. So
Is that through hypnotherapy though?
No, it isn't. It's more so through guided meditation, which I guess is
It's
a
the same thing
form
as
of it.
hypnotherapy.
You're guiding someone into sort of their subconscious and into a deeper space. I take people a lot back to connect with their inner child and heal in that way. But yeah, a huge amount of what I teach now is what I personally practice and live, and I teach a lot from my intuition, and I teach a lot about intuitive living, which is what I practice. So you can't necessarily study that at a college. That comes from your own personal journey that you then share with others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I ask about the inner child and going back? I can't even remember my childhood. How do these people? I mean, I can. I remember the vision that I held on to, but when you go through that process, how do you tap into those memories? How do you do that? Is it a state of hypnotherapy that they're in such a relaxed state that they can access that, or do we hold on to these memories and we're unaware of it because of the daily?
Yeah.
Is that it?
The way I begin to access it with people is we actually are holding a lot of unresolved stuff in our bodies without realizing. So sometimes when I'm working with someone, say they're wanting to move forward, but they're noticing there's this knot in their stomach or this tightness in their chest that always presents, and they don't know what it's about. Sometimes through guided meditations, I can take them into their body to just feel what's going on there. And I'm all about really embracing what's unfolding in the moment. And then as you actually go into the emotion and kind of peel back the layers, then memories come in. And people can actually piece together maybe where they learnt something about themselves, a belief system, or you'd be amazed what kind of flows in. Or sometimes in that really open space, I can then ask them, when did you first learn this about yourself? When do you first remember feeling this? And then they can access the, but to your point, you can also get a photo of yourself. And that can help take you back. And you can just sort of sit in a little meditation with yourself with that photo and in just your mind's eye connect with that part of yourself, and you'd be amazed what starts to flow out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember your first memory?
I do.
Really? How old were you?
I remember, I don't remember how old I was, but I was in the car and we had spilt some chocolate on the seat, and I was in the 70s, so these seats were just like...
Sheena, it was in the early 2000s. Excuse me.
So the seat covers was just like one pillow on this like plastic thing, and it was like a bit of chocolate that was there, and I can still smell the chocolate. I can see the chocolate.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
That's like anchored in.
That's anchored in.
But
And
you don't
now,
know what it was about?
No.
Do you remember, like, I got in trouble or something?
No, it was, we were in the car, and it was just in the car with my sisters. I just remember that. But that smell and that, like, the vision will appear in my life. And I'll be like, whoa, that's the same thing that I experienced in the car, in the Volkswagen. It was a Chevrolet, like, I don't know, wagon or something.
I remember a memory that changed my life. It was the first memory that I ever had.
What was that?
It was when I would have been about 2 or 3, and I remember sitting on my mum's lap, and she looked down at me, and I remember, and I described my mum the house that we lived in back then as well, because I haven't been to that house since. And I remember I was like, do you walk into in the door on the right is one room, and then right's another room, and then there's like the kitchen, the dining room sort of area, and in the backyard. And she's like, that's exactly the house. I'm like, well, this must be a true memory, because I remember sitting on her lap and her looking down at me and going, Liam, we're not going to be living here anymore. We're going to be living in this beautiful country called Australia. I'm going to be living in this beautiful suburb. I think she said in Bondi. So we actually moved from England, because I was born in England.
Oh my goodness.
And we moved from...
Chills.
Chills? Moved
That's
from
proper
England.
goosebumps right there.
Yeah, I know. Wow, I thought it was cold. You said
No, just like you having Tina whisper in your ear, we're moving to...
moving to Australia, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I remember just running off and just getting my toy or something like that. That was actually last year.
So do you have
no, it was when I was 2.
do you have profound breakthrough moments with people that can tap into their inner child and finally release whatever it is that you're...
Absolutely.
That must,
There's a lot of tears, and that's something that I've stepped into people with gradually, because it can be quite a big experience, and I'm really aware it can be quite deep for people. But if they're ready to go there, it can be so cathartic to cry out a lot of tears they never got to cry out. And sometimes if, as a child, you've built some belief systems that didn't feel very supportive, or based on fear, or based on maybe not being loved, you're also still carrying a lot of emotion in you around them that maybe you've never processed. So sometimes the sessions can be a really healing place for people to feel all of that. And the other thing I encourage them to do is really connect with that child and give that child the love maybe they didn't get to experience that they were craving. And that's really healing as well. For a lot of people, it just cracks their heart open almost to themselves. Yeah. And it really helps them connect more deeply with who they are. It's beautiful.
Did you say you had a certain demographic? Did you say that who you talk to on a day-to-day basis as a life coach, or is it anyone who needs your service as a life coach?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can come to me.
Like, is it business? Doesn't matter?
No, I wouldn't say it's so much business. If it's business, it's women who want to follow their heart to set up their own business, usually in the wellness space.
Yeah, okay.
And I do sort of mentor through that a bit, because I've walked that journey. Yeah. And so much of my work is about helping people uncover what their heart desires, what they truly want. So a lot of the time it is around business for them, but most of the people I work with are 25 to 35. That's the standard age, and women
Similar
usually.
age bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually women.
And it's, a lot of women around my age, or a bit younger, obviously, they're wanting more out of life. I think we've got so many options now, and they're seeing, you can work as a life coach, you can run your own business, you can do this or that, and they want someone to support them to have all of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's it. And you can write a book. And you can write a book.
The book is in draft mode.
In less than 30 days.
Can I?
I can, if you need a coach, I can teach you.
Look at you.
Write a book.
Do I have to pay you?
Yeah, don't you know about his world bestseller?
No.
Oh yeah, he's got a world bestseller called The Humble Hero.
Got a world bestseller.
How many have you sold? Like
I've sold
2?
millions and millions
sarcastic.
of copies in my mind. I've sold millions and millions of copies. It's on Amazon.
Oh, just keep visualizing that. It'll be real.
That's right.
Millions and millions of
That's
copies.
right.
It's called The Humble Hero.
Awesome.
So it's a guide to self-awareness.
Oh, wow.
It's actually I talk about it a little bit. I don't want to talk about myself, I want to talk about Connie, but if you need a hand, I wrote the book in 30 days, not by choice, obviously by choice, and because I couldn't do anything. I actually moved to Yamba, a little country town, and I decided to get out of fitness training. That was my passion for 10 years, the outdoor group fitness and fitness events. That was blah, 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 all around the eastern suburbs. Anyway, I decided to do something different, and I went roofing with my brother. got out of it. Never done it. I've done a little bit of labouring in the past. I did a plumbing apprenticeship when I was 18, but I have no clue about labouring. Nothing of the sort. Anyway, 2 hours in, I was like, don't say anything. Don't do anything stupid. It's not my realm. Like, if it's fitness, I could talk about fitness, but just stay focused. 2 hours in, bang, bit of scaffold opens up my finger, and I almost cut my finger off. So I couldn't do anything. Couldn't go. I decided to get out of roofing.
That's life intervening.
Yeah, life in a painful, flipping way. I couldn't bend my finger for like 6 months. It was in a splint, right? And then I couldn't write. I had to write like this. So I just decided to write because all these times as a kid, I was told I was a terrible writer. Punctuation, all that stuff. So I wanted to prove myself wrong. I didn't want to tell that story anymore. I'm bad at punctuation, bad at grammar. I want to write a book to prove myself wrong. I wrote the book in 30 days, but getting all the grammar and punctuation took me about a year.
But that's the best part. You just want to get into the flow. You don't want to reread
all
it.
your blogs, you could just turn that into a book now.
Can I ask about your social media efforts? I mean, obviously having that many followers takes A, time, and B, there's a bit of strategy, but it doesn't seem like you had a strategy, which is probably natural. I mean, you've had natural growth. So can we just talk a little bit about your social media efforts, and like, did you know what you were doing when you were writing the blogs, and did you tag, and like, did you do anything technical to get the viewers and the readers up?
Or do you get a coach yourself?
I've never been coached in that area.
Really?
No, I've never really been coached in strategic stuff, which is maybe kind of one of my next little areas to invest in. But as I said, I live by my intuition a lot, and I'm surprised sometimes just how strategic my intuition is without even realizing. I'll talk about social media in a minute, but even with starting a podcast, which I literally began because I felt such a desire to create a platform to speak. And that has been my best marketing tool. It is the way so many people find me. It has been how all my clients come to me. And I'm like, gee, that was a great idea. And that's actually, podcasts strategically are fantastic. But I was just following what felt really good. And that's what I do with social media. A lot of what I was doing, particularly on the blog, was sharing my personal journey. And I think people really connected with my authenticity, my realness, my vulnerability to some extent, because I didn't paint a perfect picture of anything. I was like, hey, I'm having a crappy day. This is what it looks like. Here's how I'm helping myself through it. And I still do that on Instagram. My Instagram is very much sharing what I'm moving through, and people connect with that, and I think that's how they find you and come to you.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
You know you're on the right path when it's effortless. It seems like it's been effortless for you.
Yeah, like it's hard, 100%
sometimes. The work is hard, but your path seems to be open, like it just seems to flow. Especially if you're getting clients through your podcast, it's like you're doing something right, you know?
Yeah, and my Instagram continues to grow really organically. I've never done anything strategic to grow that, and I find that my community grows every month. Yeah. And I think when you really stay true to you and you share what you love and you show up as your real self, people find you. People are drawn to you. Same with the podcast. I actually wonder, how did you find me?
I don't know.
I think that's an interesting question.
I can't remember how I found. I don't know.
Was it Instagram though?
It was Instagram.
Yeah, it's a great tool for that.
I can't remember how I don't know. I just don't. It just came up in my feed. That's why I find it what you're saying there. How people just attracted to me. Yeah. I can't remember. Like, I just remember being on social media, and then I'm finding Connie Chapman, Bondi. I'm like, oh well, get her on the show. What I wanted to chat to you about is episode 71. What was it?
Have you listened to my podcast?
I've listened to it. I'm research. See, I come across.
It goes both ways, right? Stalking.
But I should have known your book was a bestseller. I should have known that. You should have
known that. I think it was you changing. What did you say?
I said it really was.
Episode millions and millions of copies. You guys are laughing.
I know. Remember what I was saying? You've got to verbalize it for it to happen.
Exactly.
We were talking about
it's real. This is a manifestation
studio
right here.
100%.
We're talking things into form.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. I think it's episode 71. You talk about home life. I didn't deep go too much into the podcast. There was something to do. I think it was home life and
about manifestation.
Manifestation.
Following your intuition.
That's right.
Yeah.
So where did that inspiration come from in terms of did you just come up with those titles? Is it your own, as you went back to before? Is it your own experience? and then you just have to talk about it. Like, that's very gold nuggety information.
Yeah, and again, it comes down to really trusting my intuition and trusting where I feel pulled and inspired to go, and trusting what message I feel is moving in me, and then it's just my job to share that. So again, a podcast on manifesting is quite strategic. People love hearing that stuff, but I honestly had just been through so much upheaval around my home, and I'd been moving house and had been really wanting to get my own place, and I couldn't get things to come together. And then something finally clicked and it all fell into place. And I was so inspired by what I'd experienced that I really thought back to what is the process I went through over the past 6 months, even 12 months to get me here. And I really identified those key kind of steps and processes I was working through. And then I was like, I'm just going to share that in a podcast.
Well, what I like about it is that, I don't know if I'm way off track here, but I do mention this a few times before. It's never been dictated by external environment. Your external environment is your home. You're dictated by your own internal environment, which reflects your external.
Sure, yep.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Deep conversation. I've had 3 coffees, by the way. That's what brings me into a deep conversation.
No, it makes sense, because if we were to look at it from a deeper level, I was intrigued why I kept manifesting so much instability in my home.
Yeah.
It was something that's when I had to really stop and be like, what's going on inside of me that's creating this pattern of me always having to move, something always going wrong. And part of my work in just my personal practice is grounding. It's one of my big areas of work.
Yeah.
And my
being humble, maybe a humble hero.
Yeah.
In yourself.
Yeah, 100%. You got to be humble.
You got to be humble.
You can't ever get up on a pedestal. Someone will tear you down.
Exactly right.
But yeah, I think I was doing a lot of inner work around how to stabilize myself and my energy, and I think then I was able to manifest that change in my external environment. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about manifestation earlier today, and we were also talking about Kevin Trudeau. Have you heard of Kevin Trudeau?
That name rings a bell. Who is he?
Your wish is your command. Talking about
genie in a bottle, isn't it, really?
the brain is what's the word? What we were saying? It's what's the word?
It's a transmitter.
Transmitter, that's it. Your brain is a transmitter transmitting signals, and it's all based on what you're thinking and the intention behind what you're thinking and the daily habits of your goals. You know, so when we're talking about this is our office and our view every day, you know, we've got to have confidence behind that energy, and we've got to say it, and we've got to say it like it's already, because we're transmitting that, and we're going to get that back.
That's based on intuition, right? But just on that, okay, I know that this is a curveball at you guys, but intuition, if my intuition tells me just not to rock up to work on a Monday, I'm going down the beach instead. But then that intuition tells me that. Do I follow that intuition? I'm not going to be left with a job.
If it's true intuition,
yeah, exactly.
Like
true
intuition, that's real. Following your intuition is difficult when it calls you to do something that doesn't make sense or that feels like it will have really negative consequences.
Because sometimes I'm like, I'm picking up right now. I'm just going to go traveling for like a month. That's what intuition tells me.
Yeah. When I hit rock bottom 6 months ago, I said, I was in LA and I woke up the next day and I said, Dad, I'm gonna move to the beach and I'm gonna get a job at a station. And 10 days later, I got a house by the beach, and 6 months later, I had a job in a station.
Well, Emily's mum, my girlfriend's mum, she's very spiritual. She's from Portland, Oregon. Yes. Very, you know, that's the type of hipster, hippies type style area. She comes to me before we moved here, because I was doing a podcast for some time on my own, and she said, you know what? I say it in an American accent. Excuse my American accent, by the way. You know what, Liam? You should be on radio. Get yourself on radio. And I'm like, radio? Why? She goes, you got a voice for radio. I don't know if she's saying I've got a face for radio.
Oh, that's a little different, isn't it?
I can't confirm or deny whether she said, I've got to chase up to that. But she said, get it. You should be on radio. You should be in front of. I see you on radio. And that was when I was living in Yamba, and that was like 3 weeks before we moved down here. And dead set within 4 days of me moving down here, I think I was on an interview on this Bondi Radio with one of our other mates, Stacey Henderson.
And that's how him and I met.
Wow, love
That's
the
how we met.
synchronicity of this whole thing.
Just
Look at
like
that.
the stars align.
Yeah,
And that's
Now
when-
she can't get rid of me.
I know.
Now she's like, damn it, I can't get rid of this guy.
I love it because we didn't know each other, and we just decided to come together for our passions, and it's been hugely successful. And
Oh, look, I enjoy it. Look,
I love it.
This is like my favourite time of week.
Yeah.
Going to fitness first, look, that pays the bills. I love to be working with inspired fitness professionals, and this is, I feel like this is my true intuition. Tells me I have to be down doing this.
talking to people like you.
Talking to people like you.
When you're just following that inner impulse, like I'm sure like you would have had things in your mind being like, what? Like you're moving to another country, moving by the beach, where's this radio show going to come together?
Exactly
And
right.
you just follow the feeling and the little steps and it like all comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love
but then
that
now
story.
like for me, now the intuition's like, oh shit, what do I do next? You know, that's where I'm
That's
sitting
not
right
your
now.
intuition, that's your mind.
Yes,
Is that
that's-
the ego?
Yeah.
Is that ego, or is
Intuition
that like?
doesn't freak. Intuition's calm and certain. It just
Yeah.
knows.
Like
Yeah.
for instance, when we were doing
That could be
wellness
coffee.
yeah, that's true.
It's still your mind though.
Your mind, yeah, definitely.
Remember we did wellness radio for 6 months, and we would walk up every Saturday and do this. And I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? Well, I mean, I went from video marketing, social media to wellness. And I'm like, what, am I going to become the Oprah Winfrey of wellness? Are we doing that? What are we doing? And we just stuck at it. And now it's like life has shown me a different opportunity to use these skills that I've honed for the past 6 months, and a new opportunity. So even though I didn't understand, didn't let my ego get in the way.
Yeah.
And it's a story like
Love
when
that.
I say to people, they go, "What do you do?" I go, "Well, like last night at Thanksgiving." It's just that people start to talk about you at dinner. I don't mean to be doing this. I just sit there and they go, "What are you up to tomorrow, Liam?" Was it Thanksgiving dinner in front of all these 10 people that I didn't really know that well? And I go, "I've got a radio show tomorrow." I'm like, "What? You've got a radio show?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's just a, what's it about? Who's on?" And I'm like, "We've got Connie Chapman on. She's a local hero and blah blah." Like, and we just have that
I
conversation.
love getting called that. So I'm going to claim that.
Local hero, humble heroes. Yeah, heroes in everyone. I'm with my awesome co-host. We do it down Bondi and the bucket list, and just have those interactions with people on a day-to-day basis. And they say, "Can you give us a shout out on the radio?" It's just that it just brings in. If we didn't follow that intuition, I'd never have that conversation last night. I'd be going into a conversation, with that person, not explain to them that we're providing wellness to the world. I'm speaking to thought leaders in the world. How good's that?
And this is why so many people don't end up on paths in their life that really fulfill them, because they're too scared to follow that impulse. And they could easily look at something like this and be like, yeah, but it's not going to make me any money, it's not going to pay the bills, where is it going to get me? No, that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
So the intuition, everyone's intuitive.
We think about survival first. I wrote that in a chapter in my book, by the way. Survive or thrive. I promise I won't say anything more, it just keeps coming up for me. Survive or thrive are the things. People work on survival, right? And I look at it, it's like, when you walk across the road, you have your mindset that tells you to stop, Connie, Liam and Sheena, stop now, because you're going to get hit by a car. That's a survival mechanism. But that also limits you when you want to thrive, when you want to go to that next level. That same survival mechanism tells you to stop and not follow your intuition, because you might fail or you might get killed. You're not going to get killed by getting hit by a car, potentially. You're not going to get killed if you follow your dreams. And that's what your mindset doesn't know unless you're self-aware.
But to the ego self, losing love is like the biggest pain. It's almost as bad as dying.
Yeah.
And also losing your identity. So the ego's done this great job at building this identity in the world. This is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I get love. And then for a lot of people that I work with, the transition to following their passion or following their intuition means letting go of a lot of that identity.
Yeah.
Maybe no longer being approved of. So to the ego, losing that love is death.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so it will fight against you following that
Yeah.
impulse.
I mean, that was what I was feeling in my marriage. Like, it's like I needed to end my marriage, but the society, I'm like, there's so much around. But my heart was like, it's got to end, and I gotta end it. And it's like, it turned out the best decision for everyone.
Intuitively you're living. You're so excited. In the zone.
She's in the zone right
Totally.
now. Sheena's in
It
the
hasn't
zone.
been easy. It's not
it's
easy.
often not,
It's
yeah.
not. But it's like my soul
But is it worth
is
it?
happy.
Is it
Always
worth
worth
it?
Always.
Always.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to Connie. So how does somebody become attracted to like your offerings? Like, do they obviously don't wake up one day and go, oh, I need life coaching. Like, how do they decide that they want to work with you, and how do you find your clients?
They come to me, and I know like that sounds like a really easy answer, but you do get to a point where I guess I have been in this space for a good 8 years now, and you know, I want to draw people to me. I don't want to chase them. So again, the reason why I'm so big on the content piece of what I do, whether it's writing or podcasting or videos, anything, is because people consume that content. You don't know they are, but behind the scenes, they're in their bed at night listening to you. And they're hearing things that they're like, oh my God, that resonates with me. That's exactly what I'm feeling right now. Oh, that was so helpful. And what I'm finding is when someone comes to invest in a coaching program with me or any offering, I usually hear, I've been listening to you for like a year now, and I listen to you in the car every day, and I love what you do. And you don't realize, but you're building a relationship with them through your content. And that's why being real and really truly intending to connect with people, they eventually then feel that knowing in themselves like it's time. You know, life maybe just gets too hard and they're like, I need to get some support now. So, I mean, and of course, like I have to sell, I have to be strategic, I have to send the emails, and I have to pitch, and I have to offer things, and I do discovery chats for my coaching to see if people want to work with me, but I don't push at anything. That's just not my strategy.
So what are these products? It's like one-on-one coaching? Do you have an online course? Yeah. Great, okay.
I had one course for about 3 years that was called the 90-Day Transformation Project.
Wow.
And that was 12 weeks of key pillars of inner work. Like I'm all about the real inner stuff around mindset and rewriting your story and living from your heart. My next course that I created is called Slow Down and Tune In. And for me, that's really about bringing people back inwards into themselves to build strong relationships with themselves, hear their heart and intuition, and have tools to deal with this crazy life that we live in, because it's crazy. It's so crazy. I just released a journaling guide as well, because I found that journaling has been my tool since I was like 12 years old, and all my clients are like, how do you journal? How do you do this? So I just created an ebook around that.
Can we talk about journaling?
Yes.
There's something about you writing your dreams down. What is that?
Not even just your dreams, but I think it's about bringing your inner self out. It's like deep listening to yourself. And again, with this crazy life, we're all looking outwards all the time. We're running, we're doing things, and we're neglecting sometimes that inner voice that's like, I'm tired, or I hate my job, can we please resign? Or it's always communicating with you. Or we're disconnected from our bodies as well. So maybe our body's trying to tell us something through that knot in our stomach or that resistance, and we're not listening to what that is. So I think journaling is a tool to honor what's going on inside of you, to listen to yourself, but to manifest what you want.
So with the
I write about it every day.
With the resigning side of things, like, do you just go? Do you have tools that you talk to people about resigning first, and like
From a
setting
day
it up?
job? Is that what you're about?
Like
Okay.
yourself, or do you just say, you know what, you're feeling it, go for it? Which way is it? Or is it
That's a good question, because your intuition can be quite strong.
it's like just quit and then see what happens, or is it more like you just gotta just, you know?
Obviously, we're not going to sue you for anything that you say.
Look, I'm really practical as well. I'm not just intuitive, I'm practical, and I'm real, and I'm like, bills have to be paid, and I'm not going to say to you, just quit your job and see what happens.
Yeah.
I did a lot of work in the lead up to that time to ensure that I had people reading my work, that I had at least part-time load of clients. I was feeling the energy building, like you were talking about with the flow. It was just all there because I'd done so much groundwork to prepare myself for leaving my job, and it's really hard to know when is the right time, but I do think there is a point where you feel it and you know something has to change, even if that's getting a transitional part-time job. I'm all for that. I'm all like, great, find something that brings money in, it's a little bit more enjoyable than what you're doing now, or drop down to part-time while you transition. I'm all for that. Or if you really feel that you've got the support to take the leap, give it a go, see what happens. Trust yourself.
Jim Rohn, I don't know if you know Jim, Have you ever heard of
Yes.
Jim Rohn?
Yes.
Jim Rohn says a great quote. Yes, it's recording, by the way.
Oh, I was just looking at the time.
Sheena gets worried if I record.
It's the end of the show. You think I would... It's too late to do
Too late
that.
now, anyway. Wait, the next guy's not coming.
What were you saying? I want to hear. What, Jim Rohn?
Oh, yeah, I do bounce between conversations.
Yeah.
Right. Jim
Three
Rohn.
coffees will do that to you.
3 copies
Yeah.
will do that. Jim Rohn says, when you work part-time passion, full-time income, when your part-time passion evens or doubles your full-time income, then you quit your job.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, I wasn't in that position, but I think that's great. No.
It's not
I had barely had any money when I resigned.
So maybe you need to be like sometimes. Do you think that that's a good thing as well? Like, yeah, I know you felt pain, so you don't want other people to feel pain as well.
Yeah.
But sometimes it almost leaves space. You almost
Yeah.
empty your glass
Yeah.
in order to know what you can fill it up, what you want to fill it up with.
Look, it's a risk. It's going to be a risk either way. I just had to leave and trust that.
I
the
like that
money
though.
would
That's a
come.
good thing.
But yeah, you want to make sure you're in a good situation to be able to do that. And you're going to be able to pay your bills and. I guess I could just tell the clients were there who were ready to work with me. I didn't have the space for them.
Yeah.
When I created the space, they could kind of come in.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So sometimes the space is needed.
Yeah.
In order to, otherwise you're at capacity. You just don't have any room to bring in the people that are there waiting for you.
Yeah. That makes sense.
We're gonna have to wrap this up. Like, how do we get in touch with you? Because I'm gonna start following you, and I'm gonna read your blogs and get.
I haven't blogged in a while actually, and I haven't even done my podcast in a while. But I'm very active on Instagram.
Okay.
Which is Connie_Chapman is my handle. My website is ConnieChapman.com.
Okay.
Anything you just type Connie Chapman, you'll find me. And
You
my
mean not-
podcast is Awaken Radio.
Awaken Radio.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
We're on this radio.
I was gonna say
Joint forces.
it's Connie Chapman.
Oh, she's not too bad.
You should come and intro my podcast. I'm going to
Yeah.
hire you. I'm going to
Okay.
hire you to help me write my book.
Yeah, okay, cool.
This is destiny.
Destiny. I'll help you write your book. It's easy.
Okay, so what was the handle again for the podcast? Enlighten. What was that?
It's Awaken Radio.
Awaken Radio.
That's on iTunes.
That's
It's
really
also
good.
on my
Okay.
website.
Okay.
And Instagram is where I'm really highly active at the moment. So if you want to get all my messages, come and hang out with me there.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time. I reckon we could have sat here for another half an hour.
I
or
know.
so.
I wish we didn't have a deadline.
As
Right.
per
kept riffing.
usual, we have to just wrap up the show, and it gets so sad this
I
time.
know.
Time
We'll
to
have
say
to wait
goodbye.
another week before we have to come back on here. And it's been a privilege to sit down with you girls to have a conversation on a deeper level. Thank you so much.
I think that the takeaway is to verbalize your dreams and write down your dreams and
That's
yeah.
been a big theme
Yeah, definitely.
today.
We'll walk away with that piece of golden nugget from Connie
And follow
Chapman.
your intuition.
Yeah,
Follow your
big
intuition.
intuitive stuff in this room.
Yeah.
Thank
Really
you
awesome.
so much.
Thank you so much for your time,
Thanks,
Connie.
guys.
Woo!
Loved it.
Bye guys. See you next week.